every day, he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
To bring you this important message.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not to unsettle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the move. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning, and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing today and every day is giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. We got a lot to do, a lot to talk about. We're bringing Black History Month to a close at about 100 miles per hour. So hold on, put your seatbelt on, let's do this, okay? So this is what we call a Wealth Building Wednesday, because you know our days have names around here. Hour 1, we look local, what's going on the left coast side of town. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond, kicking off the hour with what we call a Wealth Building Wednesday. We put the spotlight on a Black-owned or socially innovative business, something local, something woman-owned, BIPOC-owned, and then we share information about business opportunities for you. Always do that. Then we'll open up the phone lines for those of you who suffered through the State of the Union, or you have something else you want to talk about. We will open the phone lines wide open. They're always at your disposal at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. And in the final hour of the show, we do a deep dive on a hot topic or a person, subject, etc. of interest. And I'm really excited to be talking with Lisanne Basquiat today. She is a legacy curator. She's also a life strategist, and this is going to be a career conversation. So looking forward to that. But right now, the studio is filled with brilliance, and that's always a good thing. It's a good way to start the day. So I'm pleased to welcome to the conversation a strategist, specializing in community development services and nonprofit organizations. And if you're not 100% sure what that means, it's okay, because you're about to find out. And one of the things we try to do all the time is provide information that can help you with your activism, also with your activism, with your business, and with your personal life. So we're doing a little bit of all of that, we are welcoming in Sheila Mix. Good morning.
Good morning.
Long time no see.
I know. It's been a few years.
Yeah, it's been a few years, but it's great to see you. And we're also welcoming in someone we get to see from time to time, a special treat. She is a world-renowned clinical psychologist focusing on community psychology. She's on the faculty of Loyola Marymount University for a few decades now, professor of psychology and director of their Psychology Applied Research Center. Dr. Cheryl Grills, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. So let's start with you, Sheila. What is it that you're doing? I mean, you're talking about nonprofits, community development, and I think a lot of us know almost zero about nonprofits.
Well, I've been doing this for over 45 years, working in the community. My trade is as an accountant, so I've been working for several nonprofit agencies, a lot here on the Crenshaw Strip and everywhere else throughout LA as an accountant. And I've spent a lot of years working with nonprofit organizations. And through that time, I discovered that the needs, besides what they're doing in the community, but the administrative sides of what is needed in nonprofit organizations. So I started my own nonprofit over 25 years ago to address some of these issues that I've seen that are needed to make every nonprofit successful. And so what Community Development Services does is our goal is to create, maintain, and grow nonprofit organizations in different ways. So we do, like this year, we're starting a new initiative where we'll be bringing in college students from an internship program, and Dr. Grills is helping me with that, to bring in accountants for the nonprofit world. One of the major problems is there's an extreme shortage of accountants really everywhere, but certainly in the nonprofit world that can...
Most people can't count. I mean...
Yeah, and they can't, and it's hard to get the right people to help.
Count, yeah.
And so... and then me, as I've been in this so long, a lot of my friends my age, they're retiring. So we need to get a new crop of people to help the nonprofit community, which is why we're pulling in college students into this new internship program that we're starting.
Right. Okay, we'll get to all that. We got some time here. But I think you and I met a long time ago at one of my favorite nonprofits, which is the Community Coalition.
Yes.
They've done some of that work, and I know, Dr. Grills, you've had your, your experiences with the Community Coalition. They're a solid nonprofit. What we find, I think, is that a lot of the smaller ones, the new ones, especially community-based, I know I experienced this with the Urban Peace Movement, is that they're doing the work, but they don't have the paperwork. They don't have the infrastructure. And COCO did, or does, obvious surprise. It's founded by our mayor. At the time, she wasn't the mayor, but why do you think that's so important? Why is that something that you invest your time in? You've got a million things to do and thousands of important projects that are going on.
So nonprofits are actually the backbone of our society. They're the social safety net in many respects, and they don't get the attention and the support that they deserve and that they need to do the kind of community service that they do. So I don't think most people realize, but a large proportion of the nonprofit world has an annual budget of $50,000 or less.
Wow.
That is stunning.
So, in other words, most nonprofits are functioning in the thousands, not the millions.
Not the millions, absolutely not. And even right here in LA County, there have been initiatives to try to bring those nonprofits kind of to the table to participate in getting grants in order to do the work that they do. For example, there's an initiative called Ready to Rise in the county. At one point, there were 99 organizations in the county, small nonprofits, a lot of them with budgets that were $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, and with, a skeleton crew of staff. And they had to deal with mounds of paperwork, regulations, rules, and payment structures that made it almost impossible for them to do their work. And so we have to figure out how to support them as they support us.
Right.
Yeah, I think that maybe some of us are getting more familiar with how much we lean on nonprofits in the current environment that we're in, where, you know, people are losing funding, whether it's because of DEI or because it's not a priority for the current administration. And some of these nonprofits are not making it, right?
Well, here's the thing that I learned. No one really knows how much these nonprofits are doing in this community. You know, you go to fundraisers and it's the ones that we know.
Right.
But there's so many of them out there in the trenches doing things to help, you know, build the community, build the county, whatever they're doing, and they're passionate about it. But a lot of people don't know about it. And so one of our goals is to give them more highlight to help them understand, because who's advertising nonprofits? It's not on any radio station. And
We do.
Oh. Well, yeah, outside of you, but I'm just saying.
No, but I know what you're saying. They don't have big budgets and billboard campaigns.
Or people
and
to know what they're doing.
Super Bowl commercials and all that stuff. They don't have that. Yeah.
So that's where community development comes in, is to try to help them, as she's talking about, with the infrastructure that's needed to help support them. Yeah. One of the biggest areas is finance. You know, they just don't have anyone to handle it. And that's one of the things that we offer is affordable nonprofit assistance in that area.
So you can come in and help them get their books straight?
Yeah, I used to tell people I'm the cleanup girl, you know, because I hear people would call me because they know me, you know, hey, so-and-so needs some help. They said they could fix it. They messed it up, this and that kind of thing. So I just formalized that process because I can't help everybody and started, you know, by myself, you know. Right. So I formalized that process because I figured out what the disconnect. It starts at the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. When you go to school to get a degree in accounting, there's nothing there to teach you about nonprofit financial management. And so they come out of college and then they're kind of like, well, what is this? This isn't what they taught us in college. Right. And that's where it starts.
And this is more than a notion, because if you mismanage your nonprofit, you can go to jail. It's not just, oh, how cute, we need to get our books in order. You can go to jail, be fined, lose your nonprofit status, right?
Yeah. Well, also, the immediate effect is you could lose funding just because you don't handle it correctly, especially federal dollars, you know, government money. You know, they come and audit you a lot. So you've got to know the rules behind how do you manage these funds.
Well, Sheila Mix is here, Cheryl Grills is here, and we're going to tell you how you can access this help and what you might want to think about when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
I am somebody.
This Friday night, KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to gather with us as we honor a legend. Join us at 7 p.m. at the historic First AME Church for a celebration of life for the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., civil rights leader and tireless champion for justice. For decades, Reverend Jackson stood on the front lines of change, fighting for voting rights, economic opportunity, and equality for all. Now, the community comes together to reflect, to remember, and to celebrate a life that helped shape a nation. Music, prayer, powerful tributes. That's this Friday, February 27th at First AME Church in Los Angeles, 2270 South Harvard Boulevard. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks our partners for this celebration of life service in honor of Reverend Jackson, the United Faith Coalition, the Empowerment Congress, LA County Federation of Labor, and SCLC LA. For details and coverage, stay with KBLA Talk 1580.
I am black, beautiful, proud.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Sheila Mix is here with the Community Development Services and Cheryl Grills. And you were talking about what you do, which is help nonprofits to stay afloat, really, because if your paperwork ain't right, then the whole thing is going down. Mm-hmm. And we're in a challenging environment right now for nonprofit organizations, right?
Right, and which is why we also started to launch a fundraiser where it's like for the people, by the people, where people will donate to help us build what I call a SOS, Saving Ourselves Community Assistance Fund, where we can now give bridge money to these organizations that are losing money, and also to provide scholarships for the students who are losing some of their funds, and also to address some of the issues. As you know, they're changing some things around Section 8 and the SNAP benefits, so we can use these funds to give bridge funds to the community that need some help as well. We can't obviously do every last person in LA County, but through this fundraiser, this is what we're raising the funds. We're actually launching it now, where we're asking people to, donate $5, whatever you want to do, in order for us to build this fund. Mm-hmm. And
where would they go to make that donation?
They can go to our website at Community Development Services, INC.org, and go to the Support Our Mission page, and it's right there for that. We also hope to raise enough funds to do a benefit concert later on in the year to raise even more funds.
Community Development Services, Inc.org.
Right.
And, okay. So what kind of impacts? I mean, you're here with a million things to do early in the morning. So this has some urgency for you, Dr. Grills. What kinds of impacts are you concerned about and looking to correct, I guess?
I'm concerned that our small nonprofits, which really are the backbone of support in our communities, are under assault. They're losing funding. They're not qualifying for funding. They get funding and they can't hold on to it because they don't have the infrastructure to manage the resources, to manage the programming, to do the kind of connections to buttress what their work is trying to do for the community. And so, that notion that it takes a village, it's more than a saying. And if we don't do our part to support that village, to do the work of healing, to do the work of supporting and guiding, then we shoot ourselves in the foot. Right. So, and the sense of urgency is that I'm thinking about all of the people that have been helped by our nonprofits. I'm thinking about the young people. We just finished a annual report on Ready to Rise for this past year, and we did another study looking at alumni of Ready to Rise. Folks, young people who were in the program and now it's 5 years out, 10 years out. What's happening with them? And we did the same with Community Coalition years ago, an alumni study. Without fail, our young people are saying these community-based organizations, these nonprofits, were the game changers in our lives. They provided, first and foremost, a sense of community, right? And then practical skills and a kind of home base to kind of reposition and resituate oneself. And then, a kind of sense of direction. And so why would we not want to make sure that these organizations continue on? Right. So we've got to do, and it's the financial management, the accounting part is essential. But then there's also the need to help these organizations build and grow and extend their reach.
Yeah. Right. Because they can be victims of their own success, right? You finally get a huge grant. Now you have to be at the level of doing the work that you've promised.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So how do people access your services and how can they connect with you?
Everything is definitely online at communitydevelopmentservicesinc.org. Of course, the phone number is 310-289-4330. But everything that they need is definitely on the website. Our goal is to keep, like, as she's talking about, keep and sustain nonprofit organizations. We help you start them, we help you maintain them, and we help you grow them. That's
the right way,
goal.
so
Right.
so they can stand. Okay, so communitydevelopmentservicesinc.org, but not all of our people are great online either. I learned that during COVID. So they can call you also.
Yes.
310-289-4330. Is that
correct?
Right? Okay. Yeah, some folks, folks, their phone is just a phone to them. And I get that. I love that there's grace and space for people. What is the biggest mistake you think a lot of these nonprofits are making right now?
They're acting like they're in this on their own, rather than connecting with other nonprofits, connecting with technical support resources, and they kind of think, well, I'll fix this later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because you're going to get busier and busier, not less and less busy.
Right.
And I'll ask you the same. From a paperwork standpoint, what are people missing? Because seems like everybody wants to start a nonprofit. You always hear that.
Yeah, everybody has passion, but they
Right.
don't have direction. They don't know what really it's going to take, which is why when we do start a nonprofit, we educate them first. We have what we call our Community Education Institute, where we train people before they take it on so they understand. And if they don't, if they find that this is maybe more than they can handle right now, we serve as their fiscal agent, right? To help them. It's all about keeping them going with what they want to do.
Yeah.
So that's, in my opinion, it's always the infrastructure. They don't know the administrative side of the business and how to maintain it, how to go after grants. Everybody thinks I get a nonprofit, I can go get a grant tomorrow, and I tell them that's not realistic. They don't understand how it works, in order to get grants and things of that nature. So one of the other things we do is teach how fundraising methods, so they understand how to do something more impactful than a car wash or whatever, something more impactful.
Yeah, Marie Deary was telling me, my friend who does taxes, how many people, nonprofits, missed out on COVID help that they could have gotten because their taxes aren't done, for example. Yeah.
Right.
So you can help with that kind of stuff too.
Right. We're really an infrastructure building type of organization.
And that includes your taxes.
Right.
Dr. Grills, I know you got to go, and you'll stay with us for one more segment. Dr. Grills, we got 2 minutes here. What do you want to leave them with?
I want people to understand that we are in crazy times.
Yeah.
But we don't have to go crazy.
Ha.
And one of the biggest mechanisms to kind of counteract the craziness is to band together, right? So if you're struggling, find other nonprofits that do what you do who may be larger, and ask them, can you mentor me? Can you show me how to do this? Can you connect me with? And then, also to don't lose themselves in this process. This is a time when, the federal government is trying to intimidate people, trying to change them out of who they are. And we got to hold fast. We got to be grounded and figure out how to be who we are, yet protect ourselves from the nonsense that's going on around us. And you do that better together than alone.
Yeah, well, it's a great point. It's like you're making the connection between our mental health and the nonprofit infrastructure around us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, even the funding agencies are encouraging collaborations. But what we have to do is change our mindset of this is just mine. I just want to do this. You really are in a place now where you really may need to start partnering with people to get the services.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you more about that when we come forward. I have some questions about that. I learned some things that made my hair stand on end, and maybe you can help me understand. Dr. Grills, tell folks how to follow your work, or
Well, I don't have a social media presence. I'm too busy.
LOL. The people hire people for that.
But you could go.
You're not alone,
right.
Dr. Grills.
Probably the easiest is the website of the Psychology Applied Research Center, and you'll see some of our work there. For those who like to read technical journals, just Google my name, and you'll see a bunch of things come up related to the social justice research work that I and my team do. And you might even see the TED Talk I did on emotional emancipation.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. Well, Dr. Cheryl Grills, thanks for being with us. I appreciate you. Sheila Mix will continue talk a little bit more after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump's State of the Union turned tense as Democrats, including Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, shouted back throughout the speech. Here's how Speaker Mike Johnson.
I thought Tlaib and Omar and a few others really brought shame upon their party and upon themselves. The antics were outrageous.
The loudest moment came when Trump said lawmakers should stand to support protecting U.S. citizens over illegal aliens. Google is apologizing after a push alert about the BAFTA slur incident displayed the racial slur itself. The notification linked to a Hollywood Reporter story and was sent to only a very small group of users. Google says it was not an AI error, but a safety filter failure, and they're deeply sorry and working to prevent it happening again. And the Mega Millions jackpot continues to rise after no one won Tuesday night. The next drawing on Friday will now be worth at least $416 million. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan dealers and NissanUSA.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
On this day, February 24th in 1964, in Miami, a 22-year-old boxer named Cassius Clay delivered a 7th-round knockout against Sonny Liston to win his first World Heavyweight Championship. Clay went on to win 2 more heavyweight titles, but on both occasions he was known as Muhammad Ali. Ali was the World Heavyweight Champion for 11 years during his iconic career. Congratulations to the men and women's swimming teams at HBCU Howard University. Both teams won the Northeast Conference Championship at the conference meet in Geneva, Ohio. First time ever for Howard's women's program, 3rd title in 4 years for the Howard men. The first ever Chicago HBCU Baseball Classic will be played this year at Wrigley Field, the longtime home of the Chicago Cubs. Prairie View A&M will meet up with Alabama A&M on Saturday, May 2nd. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention community leaders, are you ready to strengthen your impact in the community? For more than 25 years, Community Development Services has helped nonprofits build strong communities by empowering community leaders and emerging professionals with the support they need to create lasting change. Starting a nonprofit or need a fiscal sponsor? Need expert nonprofit accounting services? Want nonprofit financial management training for your staff? Are you a college accounting student seeking an internship opportunity? Call 424-289-4330 or visit communitydevelopmentservicesinc.org. Community Development Services, providing support, improving communities. Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Cheryl, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Indeed, you're listening to KBLA. We appreciate you for waking up with us. We are continuing the conversation with Sheila Mix, who is Executive Director of Community Development Services. So you were talking about partnering and how you're not alone as a nonprofit, right. And many people that are trying to start nonprofits or don't even have them at all get what's called a fiscal receiver, someone who is a nonprofit who can hold the funds, do the paperwork, right. And sort of help you function as a nonprofit. And this is what I learned that made my hair stand on end. First of all, a fiscal receiver can decide that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and they can keep the money. I did not know that fiscal receivers can weigh in on what your mission is or what you're doing. And that whatever their paperwork is, then you become liable for that. Like, right. In other words, if they don't have their ducks in a row, then that means your ducks are not in a row, right?
Right, because it's who signed the contract.
Yeah.
Who's responsible. You know, you're helping them, but you're managing the contract. So technically, you're responsible for everything that you signed on that contract.
Right. So, I mean, a fiscal receiver is kind of it can be helpful for some nonprofits to process their money. They also take a percentage. I mean, that doesn't surprise you, right?
Right.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, the average is between 5 and 15%, of whatever they
That's
you
a
take
wide
in.
range.
It
between
depends.
5
It
and
means,
15.
well, if somebody gave you $5,000, somebody might say, well, just give me 5%.
Right.
But if somebody gave you 500,000, then you may say something different.
Right.
Yeah. Ours is standard. We just do 10% and that and leave it at that.
When you act as a fiscal receiver for folks? Okay. I got you. And so you can be a fiscal receiver, and you also train the staff?
Right. So, again, from the finance to even the executive director and the board, where I've seen in these 40-something years is there needs to be training on all levels because you're all responsible, especially from the board down. Some boards are filled with nice, wonderful professional people, and some are not. They're just, working people that may not know about board management.
Right.
And so we just try to make sure that they are aware that they are covered on all levels, especially the executive director, because a lot of directors are so busy doing the work. They just trust you to do everything. And I say, no, you need to check me. The board needs to also be aware of everything. So, because there's different levels of oversight.
Right. Of
and
course.
That's what we try to train on. And it's especially the fiscal staff, if they have it.
Right, meaning whoever's, dealing with all the reporting and all the money paperwork.
So the average nonprofit usually has one person doing everything.
Right.
They just can't have a full accounting department. And one of the disparities is the average nonprofit just uses a baseline accountant where they really need the level of knowledge of a controller or even maybe a CFO, depending on the organization. So that's what we do. We don't just do straight bookkeeping. We also give them that oversight so that they'll know that they have all their things in compliance.
Yeah. Recently, there was a homeless nonprofit that I'm sure you heard about it. That was the executive director was arrested, and they're saying that he was taking the money and buying fancy cars and claiming he was providing things that he was not providing. And I wondered, if he was really, well, in his case, it seemed like he was grifting. But sometimes I wonder if people are grifting or if they just don't know the rules. They're mixing money from this pot and that pot. They're taking money out of their pockets to buy burritos for the organization, but then they're taking the money back out of the till and not necessarily tracking it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a good accountant is going to be able to manage every last thing. If you have those kind of circumstances seem to happen when there's a separate bank account that you didn't even know about, because
a separate bank account for the nonprofit.
Right. Because they can open a bank account anywhere. And you wouldn't know it if they didn't tell you.
Man.
So, you're supposed to make sure that your books can, have every last asset, everything on there. But if they opened up an account and you didn't know about it, which they can, they're the director of the organization, and they can have checks coming in that account and doing those types of things.
But I mean, as a board member, how would I know that?
You wouldn't.
So then that seems like it's not safe to be on a nonprofit board.
Well, that's why you have insurances that covers your board. But my point is, if you are a signator and you're an officer, you can open an account. I mean, I don't want to, talk about how the ways that people can be fraudulent.
Scam, but they do. Right. Mm-hmm. So this nonprofit was called Abundant Blessings, and the guy's name is Alexander Sufer. They're saying he took more than $23 million that was supposed to be helping homeless people. Unhoused people, and spent it on luxury travel, went to Maui, and spent money on private jet trips and designer shopping and stuff like that. So to me, that's probably not if that is true, which we don't know because you never know with the mainstream media, but if that is true, then he was a grifter. But what I'm talking about is people that are just running sloppy books and can come across as grifters.
Well, I don't want to call them grifters. I think what happens is they don't do check and balances the way that they should. And I've seen a lot in 40 years, and I just try to make sure that they understand. My whole motto is, you won't say I never told you. So disclosure and internal controls is my top priority with every organization.
Disclosure, internal controls.
Right.
What are internal controls?
Making sure that all the checks and balances are in place from the moment you even take in money to the time that you spend it.
So meaning no one is just doing things on their own. There's
because see, the first thing an auditor looks
procedures,
at, the first thing a CPA auditor will come and look at is your internal controls before they even look at your books. It's one of the first things that you have to do. So you have to make sure there's checks and balances. And that's when I take on a client, the first thing I look at is their operations, not just the numbers, because numbers can be manipulated, but your pure actions on how you manage your day-to-day operations, it's just already there. So all you can do is talk to them about, no, that's not the proper way. This is the way that you have to do it. And some people are not doing it just to be dishonest. I just think it's lack of knowledge.
Yeah, that's kind of the distinction I was trying to make. I mean, to me, if this Alexander Sufer guy took $23 million, I doubt it was lack of knowledge.
No,
at that level.
Was probably a whole nother
that's
motivation.
But I mean, but on balance, because a lot of times the sensational story becomes the narrative or the talking point. Mm-hmm. On balance, most community-based organizations are doing it from the heart, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I having worked with so many organizations over the years, I didn't see like this large percentage of people trying to just do people wrong. What I see is, again, the lack of knowledge. I mean, I've watched directors, they're so passionate, they put their own money in to try to keep the organization going. Well, that's not a person who's trying to do something wrong. They just want to really help somebody. But they don't realize the administrative things that they need to do when they do something like that.
Yeah, they got a whole bunch of rules. You can't just...
Again, exactly. So that's the things that we have to make sure that they understand and that they correct.
It's funny because my friend, the late and great Bo Taylor, who started a nonprofit called Unity One way back in the 90s, I take that back. He didn't start a nonprofit. He was thinking of starting a nonprofit, and he said, no, we're going to be a for-profit, even though they were doing the type of work that we mostly associate with nonprofits. And he did that because he didn't want to have to worry about running afoul of the rules, right? And when you have your own small business, you have more latitude than a nonprofit, right?
But you still have rules.
Right.
I mean, there's regulations on everything, so that doesn't necessarily excuse that. Mm-hmm. He has to still be diligent even in that, depending on whether it's an LLC, a partnership, or a regular full corp. There's rules around all of that.
Right. I mean, you got to be in compliance, as they say. And he's gone now, so rest in peace to Bo Taylor. But he refused to get a nonprofit because he said, no, we're going to make money and we're going to do what we want with it. Mm-hmm. But, they didn't have that much. And do what we want meant mostly buy pizza for kids in the hood, right? and stop, gang war.
Yeah.
But I think my impression is a lot of these nonprofits over the years is people come up with something they really want to do to help their people or help their community. Right. And then they jump in and don't realize that running a nonprofit is really hard and very specific, and there are tons and tons of rules.
Right. Whenever there's a tragedy, everybody gets motivated. A lot of people get motivated to want to do a nonprofit. So when we had the 9/11 tragedy, countless people went and tried to start a nonprofit.
I mean, we saw that with the fires, right? Last year, right? People and some people were ripping people off.
Right. People want to help, and so it takes a lot of time to get a nonprofit started, to get the designation from the IRS, it takes a few months, and people want to do things now. When you get into fiscal sponsorship, sometimes it's just people who have someone who wants to give to what you're doing, but they can't give it to you. Like churches, we also work with faith-based. So one of our newer initiatives is to help them raise funds beyond the offering plate, right? Because the way people are going to church now is so much different than before.
Yeah.
So they're experiencing
Meaning
lower.
people are going online, or they're not
Right.
as steady with their attendance.
Exactly. So we're teaching them how to do other things to raise funds for what they do. Because
Unpopular opinion. Churches don't pay taxes. Like,
no,
you
they
would
don't.
think that
a nonprofit doesn't either.
So
it's another form of nonprofit.
Right.
So
and many churches have a nonprofit wing aside from the church, right?
You know what? It's not as many as it should be.
Really?
The larger churches have them, of course, but the smaller churches, because they don't understand what it takes to do that. But see, one of the reasons they opened up nonprofits to churches back in the day is they were doing some of the same work for free that other regular nonprofits were doing. And they can't give the money to the church, the federal governments or whatever governments.
Right,
so they encourage them
church and state.
Separation of church and state. So, I tell them all the time, you're already doing youth projects or educational projects. Those are fundable, but you can't get that.
My unpopular opinion is that I think the black church takes enough money out of the community. I don't know that they should be competing with nonprofits for those dollars. But, I mean, that's not up to me. To me, if you're not paying taxes and people are tithing to you and you already own, most churches already own their property, why are you competing with nonprofits, many of whom don't have any resources and don't have parishioners?
Well, they are literally almost like a nonprofit because they are designated as a nonprofit. I don't think it's tied to tax. I think it's tied to service. Churches do virtually some of the same stuff as they do. There are large churches in the city
I know
now.
some do, yeah.
Right.
Some do,
they
some
build
don't.
housing, they help help people's bills and things of that nature. That is nonprofit work. And so we want to encourage them to start their own separate nonprofit to help on those areas. But again, the infrastructure, do you have the right infrastructure to do that? That's why we've been saying, get a fiscal agent agreement. So that can help you. Somebody can see all the administrative stuff and still help you do what you're doing in the community. There are some smaller churches that do just as much as a mega church.
Yeah, that I believe.
Yeah, they do. So, I don't think it's tied to the taxes because nonprofits don't pay taxes either. A 501c3, they employment taxes, but not income taxes.
Right, understood.
Yeah.
But most nonprofits don't have big church buildings or even small church buildings and grounds and people that pay offerings every week.
Right.
So it's. I mean, I just think to me, it's apples and oranges.
Okay.
And so even though I get that, to me, that work is part of your spiritual charge, right? To do that work.
Well, yes, it is, but it's also again something that is fundable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still have a spiritual charge, and
we'll
yet
just agree to disagree. I just don't think churches who are anointed by God to do this work should be competing with nonprofit organizations, which are businesses in the community that are set up to do services, and in most cases are not religious. Some are. But most of them are meant to be secular organizations. But the way it is right now, they can. So they should, because why?
Well, you look at it like this. If that church is doing just the church work, which they are doing what they were called to do, and they decided to put an arm together to do the work that competes with the other nonprofits, now you're a nonprofit just like everybody else. So they'll still maintain the spiritual stuff.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I just don't agree with it. But that's not what I was asking you. What I was asking you is, what's the advantage for, for a church or anybody to set up a nonprofit versus just doing the work under the umbrella of their church or their regular business?
Well, you never know how much you can get under the nonprofit status versus the way, doing it the other way. The opportunities can be greater. To me, nonprofit work is all political, because the funds come from...
Ooh, don't say that too loud. The president might be listening.
Well, because the funds come from the government. That's why I'm saying.
Right.
A lot of it comes from the government. So it's about who you're trying to help and the impact you can have. If you can have greater impact just doing it as a church, great. But if you really need to reach another dynamic, and you can't do it all under the auspices of a church, then that's where I would say get a nonprofit.
Right. So let's let people know how they can help you. You have a fundraiser going on. Help you help others.
Yeah. Years ago, I did a fundraiser at the Hollywood Park Casino. I used to be based in Inglewood. Now I'm in Gardena. And I pulled together 10 agencies in Inglewood, and we did a benefit concert, and we made it Give Once for All, because I saw that these organizations could never get the monies that a larger, well-established nonprofit would get, because no one knows them. So it was about exposing them to the community and then raising monies for them, and where you would give to one source to benefit many.
Right. So you're doing that again?
Yes. So this project is everyone in the community, give toward this project.
Right.
To give for yourself, to help yourself.
Actually,
that's
right.
what it's
so
mainly about.
So how can people? I'm up against the clock here. So how can people donate? How can they be involved?
If you would go to our website at Community Development Services Inc.org and look at support our mission page, you can go right on there. There's several ways that you can give. Different methods of doing it. There's a QR code on there, and also different ways you can just donate right online. And we're not saying to everybody in this economic time, everybody give me $500. Whatever you can do, we even if it's $5, it's about us collectively helping ourselves. This is a time to pull away from just one person doing everything. Let's come together and let's benefit from it all. All of us benefit.
It has to be about a collective effort. Yes, indeed. Well, Sheila Mix, it's really nice talking with you, and you are definitely doing some really important work. Because if our nonprofits fall, we lose more than we even know, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for doing the work. I got a few people I'm going to send to you. Community Development Services Inc.org. Appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
All right, you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
There was a time when I parented out of stress and emotion, until one day I heard my father's voice coming out of me. In that moment of pause, I realized that I was on autopilot, and I decided that I needed to do things differently. I'm Lisanne Basquiat. I'm a legacy healing strategist, and I want you to join me for Your Past is Your Present. It's a virtual workshop on generational healing, and it's happening on March 1st. Sign up today at shapingfreedom.com. Space is limited, and your healing could start right now.
LADWP urges everyone to always keep safety top of mind. If you see a downed wire, don't touch it. Stay far away and call 911 immediately. Downed wires can be deadly. Whether you're at home, work, or on the road, always assume the wire is live. Together, we can keep Los Angeles safe and powered. Learn more at ladwp.com/electric safety.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like nuclear reactor safety expert.
I disabled the backup cooling system. It was making such an annoying noise. You heard it, right? It was like,
we're on a countdown to core failure.
And you're saying we don't want that?
This is the time for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump's State of the Union turned tense as Democrats, including Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, shouted back throughout the speech. Here's House Speaker Mike Johnson.
I thought Tlaib and Omar and a few others really brought shame upon their party and upon themselves. The antics were outrageous.
The loudest moment came when Trump said lawmakers should stand to support protecting U.S. citizens over illegal aliens. Google is apologizing after a push alert about the BAFTA slur incident displayed the racial slur itself. The notification linked to a Hollywood Reporter story and was sent to only a very small group of users. Google says it was not an AI error, but a safety filter failure, and they're deeply sorry and working to prevent it happening again. And the Mega Millions jackpot continues to rise after no one won Tuesday night. The next drawing on Friday will now be worth at least $416 million. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan